Do you know about that school in Los Angeles that recruits football players and is doing so at an elite level and isn't USC? That's right. UCLA is making waves. Zach Anderson-Yoxsimer of Locked On UCLA is here to discuss because, Zach, you look up and we are into the month of July, and the Bruins have a top 20, not just top 25, top 20 knocking on the door. They're like one player away potentially from having a top 15 class nationally. That hasn't been seen around these parts in a long time for the boys in baby blue. What is Deshaun Foster doing right at the moment?
The big thing, Spencer, UCLA was in the top 10 for a week there before a couple
Woo!
of decommits. They were in the top 15, depending on the outlets or models you look at. But yes, mostly just outside the top 15. The big thing is UCLA has become a national recruiting threat. I won't say powerhouse. I think that's a little disrespectful. But they have gone out and made some noise in the state of Florida. 4 commits, namely 2 big offensive line commits, a couple of underrated receivers. And UCLA has bridged the gap between what the rest of the country is doing to what they just didn't do under Chip Kelly, which is, oh, let's go recruit in our backyard, and oh, let's go across the pond or go anywhere and find talent, which is not as hard as it looks when you live in LA.
Are you a Moneyball guy?
For my fantasy baseball team, yes. For my Major League Baseball team, no.
I was just referring to the movie. It's not that hard, Scott. Tell him, Wash. Any, anyway, so the Bruins are in a position that they have to hold on to. It's not. I'm not one of those people that says, "Oh, nothing matters until December." No, you build the bulk of your recruiting classes from May to August. That is when I'd say probably 75 to 80% of your commitments, and maybe even a higher percentage of your high-profile commitments, wind up choosing your school. So I think that we are this late in the cycle. This is the first time we've talked about the Bruins recruiting efforts, that we are this late in the cycle and they're recruiting this well is a really good sign going into year 2. And I think you have to start to snowball positive momentum the way they did at the end of last season, because I don't think Deshaun Foster is on a hot seat after missing a bowl game in year 1. I don't think anybody could have expected him to make a bowl game with the situation he was inheriting. But eventually, you want to start seeing recruiting wins, right? Like you have to start to stack these things up. Does this feel like they're starting to really build sustainable momentum to you?
Yeah, I mean, UCLA even lost Stacey Ford to Oklahoma, and he was a key part of the recruiting overhaul on the staff. And then completely changing the entire, day-to-day football coaching staff, and they're starting to win all these battles. Initially, last summer, I thought the hope for Deshaun Foster was get in the conversation. This year is to win some of those battles, and then I think the next year, when you're looking for the 26s or heading in more to the 27s in next summer, if we're projecting that far, you got to win a battle for a high-ranked 4-star or a 5-star at some point. When you win one of those battles, underrated battle where you come out. But what UCLA's done from where they were at the end of the Chip Kelly era to now, it's a remarkable growth. And just last month alone, from beginning of May into the end of June, UCLA jumped in a month overall, recruiting-wise, that I've never seen a 3 to 4 week stretch that Deshaun Foster's put in quite a while at UCLA.
Where do you think the ceiling is for this class, and what do you think is a successful recruiting cycle once it's all said and done?
I mean, I'm greedy. I saw UCLA was so close to getting to a top 10 class, but after a couple of decommits, the Pula twins decommitted. There was a local quarterback from Downey High School, Oscar Rios. He just chose Arizona over UCLA. And I think part of that came with Nico coming to UCLA and his brother Madden coming to UCLA. That hurt the Bruins' chances to get a 26 quarterback like an Oscar Rios, who would have loved to go to UCLA and probably in any other circumstances would have chosen the Bruins, except not for a succession plan with the brothers in place. I think the overall ceiling for UCLA is at some point more consistent top 15, top 10 classes. With what happens, leading up to this, I think UCLA being in the top 20 for the class of 26 would be a major success considering where they started. But I think building into the top 15 and gradually working towards in and outside the top 10 is where Deshaun Foster should want to live, with, the idea of being in LA and Big Ten media opportunities. and just the ability to recruit nationally. I think that's where UCLA should want to. Maybe not top ranked overall, but top 10 is certainly where the Bruins should be sniffing every once in a while with where they are.
If you are unprepared for the question I'm about to ask you, I'm questioning your credentials as the host of Locked On UCLA. How much of this recruiting success is because Nico came to the Bruins?
Deshaun Foster wants the haters. He wanted the glitz. He wanted the glamour. But I think this is something that started even before Nico. It's just all the focus was to get somebody. When Nico was available, they got him. And after all that died down, then UCLA pivoted towards the 26 class, the class of 2026, where, wait, why have they get any recruits in this class? All of a sudden, they came. The success is clear. The opportunities are there. And everybody's like, wait a minute. You saw what they did in the transfer portal in this early part of the spring 2025. There are good players coming in, and that's starting to build. But this has just been a relationship and a culture built from Deshaun Foster that's been more than a few months in the making. That Nico helps, but I think this is even bigger than just Nico.
I saw the other day that Nico's going to be UCLA's Big Ten representative, or one of the players that Coach Foster brings to media days in Las Vegas in July. I am planning to be down there. Fingers crossed that it all works out. I don't know that there's going to be a singular player in the Big Ten, Zach, that has more reporting attention on him when he breaks off into those individual sessions at media days to field questions from people. I mean, I was at Big Ten Media Days last year in Indianapolis, and you know, when this is not a shot how it's going to come off. This is just report. I could give another example. It's just the one that popped into my head. Jed Fish was answering questions in his first year as the head coach at Washington from about 3 reporters maybe in his individual session. At the same time across the way, Sharon Moore, Michigan's head coach, is over there. I mean, flocks. Dozens of people trying to get a question in, trying to get a soundbite, a clip, anything like that. When the players come available at Vegas this year, I imagine Nico is just going to be in the middle of the media frenzy. I think it's great that he's going. I applaud UCLA and Nico for not trying to hide from it. He's going to get asked a lot of questions. I'm excited for that personally. What do you make of it?
I'm super excited of it. It just, the thing is, we sometimes, is he going to say something of substance? What's more likely? Is Deshaun Foster going to have a killer opening press conference? Is that more likely? Or is Nico going to say something of substance that's going to change all the haters' minds about how he left Tennessee? What's more likely? Deshaun Foster, we're in LA. What's more likely in that one?
Oh, I mean, Nico is not historically a loquacious guy.
Neither is Deshaun Foster, so you're really
no, he's not. I would lean towards Deshaun Foster giving an absolute banger of a speech being more likely because of how last year's went. I'd be down for either one to happen. I don't know that either are super likely, but that feels kind of like a coin flip to me. Because maybe
I feel like
Nico,
Deshaun Foster, I think he had a shirt made that said "We're from LA," like making fun of himself.
Yeah, he
After
did.
that, I think he should wear that.
Great.
He shouldn't go. So he should wear that. Walk up, smile, just kind of have Nico in the background, just look at him and be like, "That's the statement I made," and just walk off. That's all he needs to do. My actions speak louder than my words.
That sounds like a great plan. Should I get down there and ask Nico what he thinks of the bet that I have with UCLA fans and the jersey and where he needs to get to? Should I put that into his head?
I think you should absolutely do that. I'd be like, I'm about to buy your jersey, Nico.
Like, hey, if you win 7 or more games, I have to spend my own money to buy your jersey and rock it on my show for an entire week. So just keep that in mind. And then if the Bruins win 8 games, you'll have me to thank, of course, because I will have fueled the entire ordeal. Zach Anderson-Yoxsimer, Locked On UCLA. Great as always, my man. I appreciate everyone listening. I will see you next time. And until then, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.